All right, let's start at ground zero of this viral doomsday drama. One man, one vision, and 1 billion% certainty. Yes, you heard that right. South African pastor Joshua Mankela claimed he received a divine vision from Jesus himself, warning that the rapture would take place on September 23rd and 24th. And he wasn't kind of sure, or even very sure. He was 1 billion% sure. My friends, that's not faith. That's stock market confidence levels without the market crash. Imagine being so confident in your claim that you'd bet not just your life savings, but your eternal soul on it. If conviction could power a rocket, Joshua would already be on Mars waving down Elon Musk. Now, here's the kicker. Joshua didn't whisper this prediction to a few Sunday congregants or a late-night Bible study. No, he went on YouTube. Yes, the place where we normally go to watch cat compilations, conspiracy theories, and Mr. Beast giveaways. And boom, his prophecy caught fire. Within days, TikTok and social media platforms had seized it like a meme factory gone berserk. Suddenly, the end of the world wasn't just a fringe belief, it was trending. Now, pause with me for a second. What would you do if someone told you with that much conviction that the world ends tomorrow? Would you panic, party, or maybe just binge your favorite show because, hey, if the world's gonna burn, at least you'll finish that cliffhanger? Comment below. I actually want to know your apocalypse plan. And this is where the Rapture Talk saga truly begins. But hold that thought, because if you think one man's dream could shake the internet, wait until you see what TikTok did with it. Here's where things went from a preacher said something wild to, oh no, the entire internet is doing choreography about it. TikTok, the undefeated champion of turning everything into content, from sea shanties to corn memes, took Joshua's 1 billion% prophecy and launched it into the stratosphere. In just days, more than 395,000 TikToks popped up mentioning Rapture. That's not a typo. Almost 400,000 videos. That's more than the population of some entire countries making short clips about the end of the world. Let that sink in. But what kind of videos, you ask? Well, everything from dead serious countdown montages, Bible verses flashing like neon warning signs, to comedy sketches about borrowing your neighbor's car after they've ascended. The hashtag #RaptureReady blew up alongside hashtag Jesus is coming. And suddenly, people were either confessing their sins on camera or planning their post-apocalyptic glow-ups. Because if there's one thing humanity loves, it's content creation, even when facing Armageddon. Now, here's the genius of TikTok. It thrives on contrast. Some people were dead serious, prepping like it was the zombie apocalypse. Others were completely tongue-in-cheek, making fun of the entire situation with one-liners like, "Don't worry, guys, I'll feed your cat when you're gone." This weird blend of sincere faith and sarcastic memes gave the trend its fuel. It didn't matter if you believed or mocked, you clicked, you watched, you shared. So let's pause here, viewer. If you were going to make a TikTok about the end of the world, what would your angle be? A sincere Bible reading countdown or a parody skit where you pack snacks for your trip to heaven? Drop your idea in the comments. I want to see how creative this community can get. When TikTok sneezes, Google catches a cold, and during Rapture Talk, Google went straight to the emergency room. According to reports, searches for end of the world, Jesus' return, and rapture date spiked by a jaw-dropping 5,000%. That's right, 5,000. You know it's serious when even the algorithms are sweating. Usually, Google Trends is filled with things like Taylor Swift tickets, AI girlfriend apps, or why is my cat ignoring me? But suddenly, the #1 question became, am I about to get left behind? Now picture this, millions of people typing in the same questions at the same time. What happens in the rapture? Will pets go to heaven? Can you still pay off your student loans if the world ends? Okay, maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. It turned Google into the unofficial customer support hotline for the apocalypse. Forget tech support, this was eternal life support. Here's where it gets fascinating. Psychologists say spikes in searches like these don't just show curiosity, they reveal collective anxiety. It's the digital version of looking out your window because you heard your neighbor scream. If everyone else is panicking, you start to wonder if you should too. Fear is contagious, and on the internet, it spreads at the speed of Wi-Fi. So let me throw this back to you watching this. If you saw End of the World Tomorrow trending on Google, would you laugh it off, or would you low-key start triple-checking your life choices? Be honest, drop your answer in the comments, because I bet half of you are already Googling it right now just to be safe. Now, here's where things went from meme-worthy to downright life-altering. Some people didn't just talk about the rapture, they acted like the moving truck was already outside. Reports started surfacing of individuals quitting jobs, selling homes, and unloading cars like it was the world's weirdest Black Friday sale. Imagine calling up a realtor and saying, "Yeah, I'd like to list my house immediately. Closing date? Well, preferably before Jesus shows up this weekend." That's not exactly the kind of urgency Zillow was built for. And let's not forget the car resales. Folks were basically saying, why hold on to this 2015 Honda Civic when I'll be cruising on clouds by tomorrow? It's equal parts tragic and hilarious. Tragic because people genuinely feared missing the eternal buzz. Hilarious because somewhere, someone scored a great deal on a used car just because their neighbor thought Gabriel's trumpet was about to blast. But here's the kicker. This kind of behavior reveals just how deeply humans respond to certainty, even when it's misplaced. If someone confidently tells us the end is guaranteed tomorrow, part of our brain says, better safe than sorry. And when enough people start making drastic choices, it creates a domino effect. Suddenly, it's not just belief, it's lifestyle change. So let me throw a curveball to you watching this. If you were absolutely sure tomorrow was the end, what's the first thing you'd sell, give away, or finally do? Would you dump your boss, clear your bank account, or confess that secret crush? Seriously, comment below, because I bet some of you have bucket list items you wouldn't wait one more day to check off.
You've seen life hacks, you've seen travel hacks, but now, thanks to Rapture Talk, welcome to eternal hacks. Yes, people actually started posting Rapture tips, little nuggets of advice on how to prep for the second coming, and even survival guides for those left behind. Think BuzzFeed meets the Book of Revelation. Some clips were dead serious. Always keep your Bible close, pray daily, or make peace with your enemies before the trumpet sounds. Others leaned all the way into absurdity, like tips for what snacks to pack for your trip to heaven, or how to barter with sinners in the post-rapture chaos. One video even joked about bringing a charger in case heaven's Wi-Fi is spotty. Because let's be real, if there's no Netflix upstairs, that's gonna be a deal breaker for some folks. This strange hybrid of sincerity and satire shows exactly how TikTok thrives. On one side, believers were genuinely using the platform to share spiritual encouragement and warnings. On the other, skeptics turned the entire trend into a comedy club. Together, it created this irresistible mix of fear and fun that kept people scrolling, sharing, and most importantly, engaging. But here's the psychology kicker. Tips give people a sense of control. When the world feels unpredictable, even fake advice can soothe anxiety. It's why we love 5 ways to survive anything lists, whether it's an earthquake, a breakup, or apparently the end of days. So, question for you. If you had to make a Rapture hack video, what's the #1 tip you'd give? Be serious, be sarcastic, I don't care. Drop it in the comments and let's see whose survival plan gets the most laughs or amens. Here's the thing about panic. It doesn't just stay with one person, it multiplies. Psychologists have long said that fear is like a sneeze. One person lets it out and suddenly everyone nearby is catching it whether they want to or not. On Rapture Talk, Pastor Joshua's billion% prediction was the sneeze, and TikTok's algorithm made sure the entire planet got sprayed. Lovely, right? When you see video after video of people saying the end is here, your brain does something sneaky. Even if you don't believe it, you start to wonder, wait, but what if? That what if is the spark that lights the fire of mass hysteria. Add millions of people all scrolling together, and you've basically created a digital echo chamber where fear bounces around louder than your aunt at a family reunion.
Here's the wild part. Humans are wired to pay attention to threats. Evolution taught us that ignoring the rustle in the bushes could mean becoming a tiger's lunch. So in 2025, when TikTok says the sky is falling, our brains still treat it like a survival alert. That's why people Googled like crazy, why hashtags exploded, and why even skeptics couldn't resist clicking. It wasn't just FOMO, it was FOAD, fear of apocalypse drama. So let's pause here. If your entire For You page was filled with people saying tomorrow is the rapture, how would you react? Would you roll your eyes or would you secretly double-check your spiritual insurance policy just in case? Be honest. Drop your gut reaction in the comments. I'm curious how many of you are fearless skeptics and how many are closet panic preppers.
If fear is contagious, then memes are the antidote. And on Rapture Talk, comedy was the coping mechanism of choice. While some creators were dead serious about the countdown to heaven, the jokesters came in swinging. And let me tell you, nothing makes the end of days more bearable than a perfectly timed meme. People were posting clips like, "When the rapture comes, I'm grabbing your car, your money, and your snacks. Don't worry, I got this." Others turned the whole thing into sitcom skits. PLV, you're left behind, but at least you don't have to pay rent anymore. Suddenly, the apocalypse wasn't just terrifying, it was hilarious. One viral debate even revolved around pets. Do cats and dogs get to go up too, or are they stuck down here guarding the house? Imagine scrolling past heated theological arguments followed by a meme of a cat and angel wings. That's TikTok for you, swinging between tears and laughter faster than you can hit share. And here's why this mattered. Humor kept the trend alive. People who didn't believe in the prophecies still joined in because laughing at it was just as entertaining as believing it. Memes democratize fear. They take the sharp edge off the panic and turn it into something you can joke about with strangers online. And once something's funny, it spreads like wildfire, faster than even the original prophecy itself. So let's play. If you had to make the ultimate rapture meme, what would it be? A heaven boarding pass template? A gif of someone floating away while holding Starbucks? Or maybe just the classic BRB ascending? Drop your meme ideas in the comments. I'll be reading. If memes gave Rapture Talk its punchline, hashtags gave it its backbone. The moment phrases like hashtag Rapture Ready and hashtag Jesus is Coming started trending, the whole thing transformed from a collection of random videos into a community. One big digital campfire where millions gathered to swap stories, share verses, and yes, argue about whether heaven has Wi-Fi. Here's the psychology at play. Humans are wired to crave belonging. It's why we join fandoms, support sports teams, or follow certain creators. And when a global, fear-fueled prophecy pops up, hashtags make you feel like you're part of something bigger, whether you believe it or not. For the faithful, it was spiritual solidarity. See, millions of us are ready. For skeptics, it was like pulling up a chair at the comedy show. See, millions of us are laughing together. Different vibes, same sense of community. This is where TikTok's genius really shines. It didn't matter if you were praying, panicking, or parodying, you still used the same hashtags, which tied everyone into the same conversation. That shared language created a digital tribe, and nothing fuels virality like tribe mentality. When people feel connected, they engage harder, scroll longer, and spread content wider. So, let's test that right now. Do you think this kind of online belonging is comforting or creepy? Would you feel safer knowing millions were counting down with you? Or does it sound like the digital version of a cult meeting with extra ring lights? Be honest, drop your take in the comments because I bet we'll get both sides lighting it up. Here's the plot twist nobody saw coming. The word rapture doesn't actually appear in the Bible. Yep, not once. You could flip through every single page of scripture and you'll find plagues, floods, miracles, and beasts with way too many heads. But no rapture. The entire idea comes from interpretations of verses like 1 Thessalonians 4:15-17, which describe believers being caught up in the clouds to meet Jesus. Over time, that phrase morphed into the concept of the rapture. It's kind of like how Netflix and chill stopped meaning watching TV. Words evolve, and sometimes they start a whole apocalypse trend.
Now here's where it gets wild. Millions of people were making life decisions, quitting jobs, selling houses, freaking out based on a word that's technically not even there. That's the power of interpretation. Once a belief takes root, especially one tied to fear and hope, it doesn't really matter if the original text is crystal clear or not. People fill in the gaps. And in the age of TikTok, those gaps get filled with hashtags, countdown clocks, and memes of people floating into the sky like bargain bin Marvel heroes. So let me toss this to you, viewer. Does it surprise you that rapture is more of a human-made term than a biblical one? Or do you think it doesn't matter because the idea is powerful enough on its own? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is where the debate gets juicy. So here's the ultimate twist. The world didn't end, but TikTok servers nearly did. Because let's be real, the apocalypse wasn't the actual event. The real phenomenon was how quickly and powerfully the idea of the rapture spread. Think about it. Millions were engaged, hundreds of thousands of videos were posted, Google searches went through the roof, and news outlets scrambled to cover it. That's not divine prophecy. That's textbook virality. And here's the secret sauce. Urgency plus drama plus memes equals algorithm gold. Nothing gets clicks faster than "the end is tomorrow." Why? Because it taps into every human instinct: fear, curiosity, hope, and humor. Some people genuinely wanted to prepare their souls, others just wanted to laugh at the chaos. Either way, the result was the same: engagement through the roof. This reveals something bigger than one pastor's dream. It shows how digital culture thrives on extremes. If you say, "the world's fine," nobody cares. If you say "the world ends tomorrow," suddenly you've got hashtags, debates, memes, and YouTube videos, like this one. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Social media rewards panic because panic spreads. So what's the takeaway? Maybe the apocalypse isn't coming in the clouds. Maybe it's already here, on our feeds, every day, every time an extreme claim hijacks our attention. The end of the world might not be a trumpet blast. It might just be endless doom scrolling. But hold on, don't log off yet, because now it's your turn. Do you think rapture talk was dangerous fear-mongering or just harmless internet fun? If you thought the world was ending, what's the one thing you'd actually do first? And the big one, do memes make these apocalyptic predictions less scary or more believable? Drop your answers in the comments. I'll be reading them. Here's my take. Rapture talk proves that social media is less about truth and more about connection. It didn't matter whether people believed the prophecy or not. What mattered was the conversation. Fear got people in the door, memes kept them laughing, and hashtags made them stay. It's a perfect case study in how digital culture amplifies human psychology. We're scared of the unknown, we crave belonging, and we cope with humor. Put those together, and you get a viral storm like this one. So no, the world didn't end on September 23rd, but one prophecy did come true. The apocalypse will be live streamed, and TikTok, my friends, will be the master of ceremonies.